Of course, it's a great afternoon right here on Ubuntu channel. If you are watching for the first time, we are saying welcome to Ubuntu channel. We are so glad that you are a part of the family. Also, what you can do is quickly get to call your friends, your family, and everybody that is close to you to tell them that Ubuntu channel is live, as well as so that they can like, share, and comment on this particular broadcast. Of course, this particular afternoon, in an unusual circumstance, we're coming through in the afternoon because we are discussing a topic that is very pertinent, and we would love you to get to understand it and get to know more about it. Of course, we are talking about the debt restructuring program. So great news came through to Zambia that finally our debt has been restructured, and jubilations are coming through from different parts of the country. Different stakeholders are having their say, as well as also express. Is Lance Sani Banda this particular afternoon taking you through this special program or this special interview. Of course, not to forget, I am right here with my co-host, who is Himba, that will be joining me shortly into the studio. And remember that you can be part of the program by leaving a comment, as well as joining us into the studio as we are sharing with you the studio link, because tufuna naife tizio kuti imwe mwichita understand bwanji inkhani ya debt restructuring okapena mumvera bwanji mwebe na Zambia mule omfashani pamulandu ichalo chesu nomba n'abasumina nje ile nkongole twakwata elia at least kuti aba restructured how to speak restructured muchibemba naishopa. But anyway, however, the excitement is all over, and we want to just get your views, to hear from you, what your take, your perspective, as well as your happiness levels, where they are. And of course, like I said, Himba will be joining me as my co-host. Himba, good afternoon, and how are you doing today?
Good afternoon, Lansik. Good afternoon, viewers. Ninsansa fe sheka lelo bwanama Lansi bwanama ibwankoko ibwanama mass miles all over.
Kulifwe fwe bambi ya fimbombo. It's a weekend.
That's good to hear. It's nice to see you, and it's nice to be with you on the screen. It has been long when we did this together.
Definitely, it has been long, but hey, debt restructuring is something that is good, and we just definitely have to share the screen together, because it's a progress that we have recorded, and therefore we have to see to it that we celebrate it. Each and every well-meaning Zambian has to celebrate. And for those that do not understand, this is the time that they get to understand what it is and what it means for Mother Zambia.
Yeah, Lance, actually, this is also a lesson, even us on personal level. Ngana tukwate nkongole, che tutampeko clash that restructure nkongole. Now, mwenenge chalo chashta naifwe. So you that in Congole you have for me, have to come we negotiate. With very good negotiation skills, we restructure that in Congole. Now, what to ding about example, in Tungurush Nashi ding. So if we left, de kulolera.
Well, don't worry, we'll be able to do that. And our dear viewers, remember that you can watch us live from here, Facebook, as well as on YouTube. Like I said, please make sure that you share the link so that each and everyone can get knowledge on what we are discussing today in this particular afternoon. And also to help us understand further, what debt restructuring is, or what this means to Mother Zambia. We have with us in the studios a renowned economist. I call him that because he has served on great economic bodies, as well as he's an epitome of knowledge when it comes to the issues to do with the economy. And this is none other than Noah Nkoma. Mr. Nkoma, good afternoon. You are welcome. Good to see you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. And it's happy to be here. And we look forward to an extremely productive and constructive engagement. Thank you.
All right. So to get to start with it, obviously, Zafna Vantu, Chiteko understand, you will be mixing Chinyanja, Chizungu, Chivemba, because Tuna Bonse, Vazive, kuti debt restructuring, ni chichani, okapena what kind of an animal is it? You coming from a financial background as an economist, you understand better what debt restructuring is. Perhaps let's start from there and from the announcement that the World Bank made. What does it mean for Zambia?
Lancy, just to chip in before Mr. Koma comes in, we had some leaders who were saying this was not possible. It would never happen. It was a it was just a idiashi. So I'd love also to, before Mr. Nkoma comes in, let us hear what these other leaders had to say about our debt.
Which is Manengo.
How so?
I was surprised that a person who went to the same university that I went to, the University of Zambia, in the name of Hakainde Sami Chilema, can claim that he has got the capacity to restructure our debt. And he claims that he did economics. I don't know which economics he read at University of Zambia. Because if he read the economics that they teach at University of Zambia, he could have known that when it comes to issues of debt restructuring, it is not something that you can do because you've got Tunsu, or because you've got a Facebook page, or because you can go to live radio and come and talk. No. Debt restructuring is a complex process that deals with creditors, lenders, vendors, financial institutions, tax authorities. It's a complex issue.
All right. So that is a Patriotic Front former media director right there, Antonio Mwanza, doing his politics when President Hakainde Hichilema had talked about debt restructuring and, of course, looking at the economical landscape of Mother Zambia. Mr. Nkoma, perhaps let's start from that note, debt restructuring, what it is, as well as what it means for Zambia with the fact that our debt has been restructured.
Okay, thank you. Nifotokoze kwamba mchizungu, then ni zirishile mchakwaswaini, chingoni, olo machidule chinyanja. Kuti vambinewo konka iprogramu vangapezemo I think ipindu ya mine debt restructuring. Now let me start. First of all, let us acknowledge that as a country we have been extremely reckless. Let us also acknowledge that this status cannot go on forever. There has to be a point when this has to come to an end, because we seem to take so much comfort in misusing other countries, people's taxpayers' monies in the name of what you call aid or loans. Now, we, first of all, are coming from an environment where all caution was thrown to the wind in as far as what you call debt sustainability is concerned. Now, debt sustainability is basically the capacity that any country, looking at the total economic activities in that jurisdiction, the total what you call tax revenues and other what you call economic activities to support a country's capacity to repay its debt are concerned, we decided to throw caution to the wind, and we went on basically a borrowing spree never seen in the history of this country before. When the experts, including the current president, warned that the bubble at some point will burst. We were seen as people who did not know and had no experience in government. But economics is about figures, it's about numbers, and it doesn't lie. Now, what is debt restructuring? It is a situation where you have been declared bankrupt, for lack of a better word. You do not have capacity to fulfill the obligations that you have contracted. We borrowed money to the extent that we had to earn an extremely embarrassing what you call status as a country, where we became the first country to default on debt. Kukangwa kulipira Nkongole. And if really Zambia was a country, by now it would have been liquidated. If Zambia was a company, rather, it would have been liquidated. The country had to reach a point whereby we said, Takangi wa Nkongole tingalipire lini, seo taleka kulipira Nkongole. Now, the new Dawn administration promised that as soon as we get into government, we shall resolve the debt crisis. We are basically in a debt trap. Kumangiwa na Nkongole, kumangiwa, that's a debt trap. The president, His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, with his able cabinet, resolved to re-engage the International Monetary Fund and said, yes, we know that our friends have attempted to resolve this issue, but we think we bring ingredients to this process which our friends did not have. And what are those ingredients? One is credibility. I think with my Minister of Finance, Honorable Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane, and the entire cabinet, we are people who can be trusted. We are credible people, and we are going to honor every single word that we commit. Secondly, we want to bring to the table another key ingredient, which is transparency. We are not going to hide anything under the mattress. Vonse vati navo kumkosi tifumye timuje ni vonse, or in the lack of a better word, tiurule. There's a very bad reputation among African countries to conceal or kufisa, to hide debt. Look at what happened to Mozambique. The IMF came in, the World Bank came in. Soon after Mozambique was put on the IMF program, they discovered that there was hidden $1 billion debt. So President Hakainde Hichilema told his Minister of Finance, I want you to comb every room. Come out, bring the numbers. Let's look at the numbers. And they did what you call an audit of Zambia's debt, not by our own internal auditors, but they had to contract an external agent to audit, who is independent to audit the debt. They audit the debt, it met or passed what you call the minimum credibility test. Then after that, we said, let's discuss. We had to discuss and begin to be very honest about it, to say, at the level that we are, we cannot pay. So what do we do? Can you agree to forgive some of the debt? Mind you, when a loan is not being repaid in the installments that it are supposed to be repaid, it accrues arrears, it accrues interest. So what the government did is to say, we have to undertake what you call a debt sustainability analysis, which basically meaning that tentuone patinga pere kuchitiripire Nkongole, pa Nkongole tatiri nazo zonse. And when they did that analysis, it was established under what you call the Official Creditors Committee, and working with the IMF. The IMF did their own what you call analysis, which they came to say, for Zambia to be able to come back on what you call debt repayment, there has to be some certain haircut to be given. They looked at the numbers to say even the interest rates have to come down. So what the president has achieved is basically to convince the Official Creditors Committee. Now, when you talk about Official Creditors Committee, what you do, ni bungwe ya la maziko yete kongola ko ndalama a Zambia lomba kamena yamena yo bungwe muli vyalo vosiyana muli ya India, muli ya China, muli ya England or rather UK, muli France, muli Saudi Arabia lomba bala pamozi kukala kuti potipa nkongole zira kuli vokuti government to government, boma to boma.
Lance, I think Mr. No is having connectivity problems.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Yes,
okay,
we can.
so there was an incoming call which I had to terminate. I'm sorry.
No. Okay, thanks. It's all right.
Yeah. So lomba kuona kuti bungwera, which is official creators committee, ka bungu ka vyalo vete kongola ko ndalama kuona kuti vala ndiye vete kongola ko ndalama zininji kupambana ava vambi note kongola ko vantu veka ndalama pamozi kuika mu thumba imozi yokuti Eurobond vezeteka ti ndalama bave nzocheperera ndepetera ta tenti amenava atira na nkongole zikuleni. That is where now takwanisha kuti tavakakamisha kuti vamvwe kulira kwasu, vamvwe mavuto atiri nayo, because without this debt restructuring muvipatala ngati muliye mankhwala vana ku skulu sembo kuyalini olo CDF yatula president seme kuliye ndekuti mwewa mutukhululukire kulingana na mphamvu zasu kuti patingafikire kuti tilipire. Now, what has happened? The next stage now, since we have gotten approval, or abantu batimva kulira kwasu at tenti wapeko mpata kuti wafuze, give us, meaning what they have given us a breathing space to restabilize our economy. Ndepa kuti tenti mukulukireni koma tenti ambe country by country kuti muwere kwasu kuno ku England tirabire. Mulutesa ku Saudi Arabia mulabire, mulutesa ku India mulabire, vala wonse mukayomvana nao mukawere na vipepa vati mukasali ndani kuti seo la India atukuluke teze na chikwereti cha 100 million koma India vatikulukira ko 50 million lomba pauti ko 50 million vati pako soti mpata ukulena uti tinga lipire nkongole mama uti lipire mu 10 years tinga kamiwe 10 lipire ko mu 20 years. So tikaleta vipepa ndio lomba pakuti kutwala lomba kwa IMF ndio woika wonsa wa pamozi kuti tamvwana kuti Zambia lomba pa 6.3 billion dollars tawakulukira ko pambine 2 billion tawakulukira 2 billion.
Mr. Noah, just hold your thought just to come in there.
Yes.
So now are you saying ndiye kuyenda kukwenzoenda wa president kuti lero tavamvira ati bali uku mailo bali uku so he was trying to meet that consortium of those countries.
The official creators committee.
Okay.
Kabungwe kabira, I think pamozi vyalo vili 8 or 9. Nikakumbuka ili buno koma nuzila kuti muli China, muli UK, United Kingdom, muli France, muli India, muli Saudi Arabia, I think muli na Brazil wamenomo wasiana. So lomba kuona kuti president aba bantu babasimikirira kuti abatinga bakulupirire president nolongosoka volabira bakachite tichitetyani tieni tibaone mwati tingasenzere nawo. That is where now announcement ilabe panga ku Paris kuti mwe president akende chilema vose bemwe tiuja tafufuza taona kuti wewe ndiwe musogolero olongosoka wewe ndipo wewe chaufuna nchitukuko kuti vantu vako vatandiziwe. That is debt restructuring pa mwachidule.
So nomba bangoma epe shire ili ashira kwa confidence investors
kukulupirira kula ni confidence munivwisha ngati muntu akukulupirira which means I cannot trust pa chizungu kuti nakumva wewe nikakulupirira olo pacha kwasu kuungoni ati kususa ngomwa ni kuivulira munivwishisha.
Yeah,
So they are saying to President Hakainde Hichilema, demonstrate your goodwill. We are going to give you this leverage. So demonstrate your goodwill. That is when the president now is going to allow his Minister of Finance to sign a memorandum of understanding with the official creditors committee. Wala bungwe wa na Nkongole. Then after that, a Minister of Finance mko kuva kabiri kuti amsokotwane wali ku India, amsokotwane wali ku Italy, amsokotwane wali ku France. Ndipo lomba nchito ndipo yamba. This is when the real job starts for him now and his team, the Secretary to the Treasury, the people at the Ministry of Finance, the economic team at State House, to now go country to country now to sign individual agreements in terms of restructuring the loan. There will be what you call forgiveness in that one. Pambine wakati fumile ko bambine interesting ngati pa 5 akaweshe ko pa 2 or pa 1, then inampata ulipira soti ukachengati watali mpako tikafuma polomba kuliwala bambine soti kabungu kala kabungu kama private creditors committee wala bantu ma pensioners wala vetola ndalama zao baika mu Eurobond kuti ndalama zonse zira chiji bathandize kupereka Nkongole kuli Zambia ila nao ni $3 billion kuna awa nao sote a minister vamene vanatuma committee tuwao sote mpeza kuti pali wambiri wa ku UK pali wambiri pambiri wa ku America sote nao vafunika kuti vafikireko kuti nao vamvwane kuti vayanu ku tavwana vatuja kuti vati pempata kuti tilipire namwe soti tenti konke mwachitira vayanu namwe chiti tipekoni mpata. That is the second level now of engagement with the private creditors committee. Kuti pambine kula ngati interest yafika pa 500 million pamozi ndalama kukhala 3.5 billion pambine kapita kuona kuti nase tundalama otuntoma pension twasu ndiye mutulesheramo vana ndiye mututhandizi wako ku principle tingafuneko lini koma tenti funeko chinji ku interest neo pela kangu pambine ka interest nika $400,000 neo nipeko ntiyala ka 200,000 kuti nishite chinji nane nikofuza kandi ndiye muni upezeramo chakulya mameno munimvisha. Hello.
Yes.
So this is what debt restructuring is all about. Now, tenti lomba, what does it benefit the country? Munimvishisha palomba. How does this affect a person in Shangombo, a person in Mtenguleni, a person in Katuba, Kaputa? Lomba kuona kuti boma lomba vaipa mpata ngati amsokotwane every month pa Nkongole benzoli pita pambine $500 million every month vakasirija debt restructuring amsokotwane vakoli pita zingati pambine 100 million munipushisha ndiye kuti lomba yasala yapalulu 400 million amsokotwane niye kuti vangasevenzeshe kukhala kuti ndiye vaina mphamvu zogava chuma chachalo amsokotwane vakakhala na cabinet na president kuti president kula kunkongole kuti zilipira 500 million lomba tulipira 100 million sota abantu atipa mpata watu 20 years kuti tikalipire Nkongole izi ndalama zete zolipira lomba zatangati zawelela lomba savings tichiterazo tiani ndepa lomba mcabinet kuti tieni lomba titechinji tilovye wambi na asirikali telovya 5,000 tena asirikali lomba tilovye zingati pambina 10,000 kula soti kula kuliye manzi kuchawama tenti keko manzi kuchawama soti uku vana wa skulu uku wankhala pansi valiye maskulu tenti mange maskulu soti uku talangati abantu wakuti atamanga ma SMEs wochitangati tundalama toti capital tangati wankhala ovutikira tenti tole ndalama ku Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission kuti vantu vasu vatengati vambochita malonda yosiyana soti taona kuti pension soti pefumira pa PF kuli pension na 5 billion wali pile tendo loko tundalama pati lipele kwa pension kuti nao wakoshita ko tunkuku pambi na wakoshita ko farming all into siyana. So this is what you call freeing of resources into the economy. Munimva
Wankoma.
Of resources into the economy.
Okay, so monga pali yamene inkhani omwe mulabira nkoma nzindikira kuti anthu ambiri vaichita receive mu njira yosiyana kuli wenangu vaimvuishisha, kuli wenangu ofuna ofaka mondale, kuli wenangu ofuna kuti amvera bwino nokondwa kuti koma president atitetako ichi chaso as ubuntu tinatenga liberty kupita kwa list mu community nja timvere vanthu mwamene vamverera mwamene vamverera bwino kapena mwachitira interpret inkhani ya debt restructuring. So za playing akoche tuma video twamene twa mu community so that mutenge ma views ya aba bantu and then you come and explain more better kuli baja omwe iyo sana mvuishishe koma at least waliko na idea kuti debt restructuring ni chani.
Okay, pambine before tikali ofika huko naona kala video ka Antonio Mwanza. Pambine I can react to it in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Now Antonio Mwanza should be forgiven because Antonio Mwanza has never studied economics, right? And two, debt restructuring does not necessarily need someone to study economics to be able to understand the matrix around debt restructuring. Debt restructuring just requires a president who's got a vision, right? Like President Hakainde Hichilema, to put together a team of experts, right? To be able to help him to achieve his intended objective. A president does not work in isolation. He has got cabinet, he has got a vice president, he has got technocrats. So what President Hakainde Hichilema was saying to the nation is that I have got the capacity to put together a team of experts who are going to help me unlock this debt issue. You understand? So President Hakainde Hichilema is demonstrating that as a team you can achieve so much. Not the way our friends PF used to operate, where everything was domiciled in State House. No, you can see the capacity that President Hichilema has put in his cabinet. People who can think, people who have got the interest of the country at heart, people who did not create the mess that we are finding ourselves in, but they found it. But they said, notwithstanding the fact that we found this mess, we are going to take ownership as if it's us who created this mess and we want to be part of the solution. So Antonio must be forgiven, for he did not know what he was saying. Thank you.
Zikomo kwambiri Ankoma. Of course, to you, our dear viewers, remember that we have shared with you the link into the studio. If you have a comment, you have a view, you want to express yourself over Zambia's debt being restructured, this is a time that you join us into the studio, get to have your say, get to express yourself so that at least we can see on how happy you are in the sense that Zambia's debt has been restructured. Before that, Director, let's get to see if we can have reactions from the community that we got.
I've heard about debt restructuring. But basically, personally, I don't have any idea about it. And people around are celebrating it. People don't even have anything. Let's say, for instance, like us, like young people, we don't know anything about it. So,
why is Mwezio? Simu matamba news. Kapela no wanda simna imvirepo. Debt restructuring vanaenda kambana vantu kuti vatandize kubweza nkongole ya Zambia, so vavomera zatandiza kubweza nkongole vachite extend mayezi yolipiliramo, so imwe mukamba pobwa
ziva isenkani yanewa celebrate abantu sintibabwelako mumakomboni naise watiuzako tamberako kankani evakamba.
So mungakubwera mumakomboni mungai vantu vane mugurisa pamamaketi pamarodi mungafune vabwera munjira bwanji?
Vangabwera kufika vatifikira ku maketi marodi mose vatizivisa vabwera vatiuza mwamina viriri naise taziva kuti tanizo zatufika.
No, okay.
Okay, ndemande chipika nkamwe mukali kali. So mukamba chane
Restructuring
celebration still Japan government a big funds. Because when I am in the school of Kaweka. The program is a big funds.
But na imbere ko kuri
kwa imbere ko kuri ko imbere kuri ngo kumapura nese tutabara kuyabo shuru kuzo sasa celebrate cyane njara itaka no.
Now vaponyapo ndemanga mwe vachitida understand as an economist nawe vaponyapo ndemanga namwe vamverera bwino. So naimwe mungatijoine mu studio tizamvera musho kuti mwatijoina naimwe muponyepo ndemanga mwamene mumverera mwamene muchitira understand I debt restructuring okapena Zambia's debt yankaliwa restructured. Himba.
Thank you so much, Lance. Ukonka na chikwewa tisunu mbonyama mdala. Sekotuzwa nishijalila mdala ndiwambile nishitotambala. You know? Kotuzwa sewa nishijalila ogo kuhila. It will be great. It's really a great thing, and we so congratulations to the Republic, to the president for the job well done. And we appreciate the good work he's doing for the Zambian people. Lance, before we bring in Mr. Koma, we have Muhammad who've just joined us in the studio. Mr. Muhammad, welcome to the program.
Muhammad. Muhammad, are you able to hear us?
Hello.
Hi,
yes,
how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Just give me a second. Let me just put my headphones properly. 1 second.
Oh, okay. So, including you, our dear viewers, wherever that you are watching us from, you also have the opportunity of joining us live into the studio. All that you have to do is simply click on that link which we have shared with you in the comments box. Click it, and then when you are joining, make sure that you allow audio and video, or better still, allow audio so that we can better have an interaction right here in the studio as we are talking about Zambia's debt being restructured. It has been restructured. What is your view? What is your reaction? How happy or sad are you? And what is just your take on this issue that we are discussing, which is at hand? I don't know, Himba, if you want to come in, or maybe I can chip in, Mr. Nkoma, with what has come through, or what has come in from the community as they have expressed themselves.
Let Mr. Nkoma come in last. As I told you, I'm still celebrating. Mr. Nkoma, wait, my smiles all over. You know, when you have a debt, even in a house, life you know. Absolutely. So literally, all I'm asking is let our viewers come in, let us learn, let us talk about this. And I'm so happy that we are now getting to understand that sunga chite negotiating Kongole na muntu ngasuna mkonke kunyumba kwake. So that's why our president yozoenda ngendo chita negotiate papa ata Kongole mukonga mufuna nkezi muchalo muzambia abantu akazimu bwera tikuchiteri tikukururukireko tikupase long term bwera. It doesn't work like that.
By fact, like the members say, at upafiwe mbala everyone ashishi. So it's not different from this. And I think from listening from the reaction of the people who you tried to
Okay, it appears
reach
Mr.
out to.
Nkoma is having.
No,
Okay.
no, yeah, sorry. It was an incoming call again. That
Okay,
it is
okay,
very clear that there was lack of transparency, right? There was lack of transparency in the previous government in as far as debt contraction is concerned. And one of the things that you have to give credit to President Hakainde Hichilema is that he has gone further. For the first time in the history of this country, no loan will be contracted by the Minister of Finance without approval from Parliament. The Minister of Finance must first go to Cabinet, make a case that we need to borrow 1 billion, and the 1 billion we want to borrow is for this, that purpose, and the Cabinet, even if Cabinet approves, he still has to go to Parliament. If Parliament says no, there's nothing the Minister of Finance, there's nothing the President can do about it. That, to me, is a very important development in our governance system, which I think it's very important for the Zambian people to understand how transparently President Hakainde Hichilema is running the affairs of this country. From history or from independence, any president would borrow without consulting the people. Mind you, Parliament is a representation of us. We send members of Parliament to Parliament. If members of Parliament want, they can even say, no, Mr. Minister of Finance, we have heard you, but we are going back to the people who voted for us to consult whether they are agreeable to this. And the people, if they say no, nothing happens. Furthermore, there's a serious policy reforms which have been embarked on. For example, there is an issue which basically borders on what you call reforms in procurement. You have seen what the president talks about. He does
Mr.
not
Nkoma,
want. Yes.
sorry to cut you short. We have Mr. Muhammad in the studio. Let's hear his contribution so that maybe you may also get to react to it before you leave us as well.
Okay. After Mr. Muhammad, can I be kept for 10 minutes so that I can also proceed to the other engagements?
Yes,
Sure.
that's why he's sure.
Okay.
Lance, please go ahead.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Muhammad, you are welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, everybody at Umbutu. Good afternoon, Mr. Nkoma in USA. Lance, good afternoon to you in Lusaka. I'm calling you from UK. This is a watershed moment for Zambia, and we as Zambians should be very proud and celebrate the achievement which HH managed to, the new Dawn government managed through HH to renegotiate the debt. First and foremost, we should put this whole deal into perspective of what's happened. We are where we are today because of the previous regime's illicit spending of debt. We are unfortunately going to be paying somebody else's abuse of a debt. Anyway, having said that, we have to celebrate. Zambia has to move forward. It is no more UPND forward, it's Zambia forward, whether you are PF, MMD, UNIP, or whatever. This is a moment in time for Zambia to rally behind the economy of Zambia. That is more important than the politics of Zambia. The politics of Zambia will be changing here and there, but if we cannot grow Zambia to a level where we can be commanding respect worldwide, then we will still be going out with a begging bowl to look for loans and etc. Therefore, we are sitting at the moment with phenomenal resources, the resources which the world is going to cry for, like how oil was the be it all resource during the 70s. We have gold, we've got copper and cobalt, which we can now utilize to benefit our country, value addition, etc. What we need to do is two-pronged as well. Whatever we are moving in development, we should go for. But let's not forget, let's bring to book the people that had pillaged our economy, bring them accountable, seize their assets if need be, seize whatever we need to do, which was acquired illegally, or if they have not, then we should let them go free. But Zambia has to, and Zambians must claim what we have lost. Kudos to HH, kudos to Umbutu for bringing such a quick response to a celebratory cause. This is just a battle we have won. We still haven't won the war, and let's all work together. That's my message of peace, unity, and progression for our beloved Zambia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed, for your contribution. We really appreciate you. You're at liberty to either stay on or drop off, but would love you to stay in the studio and obviously help continue sharing the joy that you have and also the knowledge. Mr. Ngoma, quickly, as you are responding to the concerns that were raised in the community, as well as to what Mr. Mohammed has talked about.
Yes, thank you so much, Muhammad, for those insights. And I think what the community basically is saying is that we have to do more in terms of sensitization. We need to make people understand, break it down to the basics so that they are able to follow and work with government. Because for any government
to... sorry to chip in. Let's use vernacular in to tipange documents. Exactly. Let's also have a lot of live programs like radio, Zoom, in all the local languages. When such
we have started that. We have started.
Because there are keywords like even Eurobond. We don't even know, people don't even understand what is Eurobond.
Yes.
You know, we just think of sebenzesa words so mutu gwahirihema bankoma ategwa mutwamba oti Eurobond bonse tulijihi ngatwalanda restructuring bonse tulijihima tolumba bankoma
Eurobond pachakwasi nichirimba, you know, village banking nichirimba palapo mwaikandala pamozi ati kongolesha yimba ndiye Eurobond.
Not kwenda ku Europe.
Nichirimba Eurobond nichirimba. Kuikandala pamozi kuta tikongolesha vanyayimba pambi na runs. Yeah. So anyway, what I think Muhammad says is extremely important. The corruption that we saw in PF, it was extremely what you call least sophisticated, but brazen corruption. So to be able to dissuade people going forward, whether after as UPND we leave government, whichever government comes after that, they should know that corruption does not pay. So you hit them hard. Do not only recover the assets or seize the assets, but also prosecute. When you seize the asset and someone saves jail, it is more painful than just losing an asset. So we think that we can.
All right. Seems like Mr. Nkoma.
Once again, okay. Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yes.
It's the other meeting. They are calling me for the other meeting.
Please hurry up so that you can go and attend it.
Yeah. So just once again to re-emphasize, I'll be, for those who may not also have exhausted maybe this discussion, I'll be on Prime TV at 21 this evening. No. It's a longer program just to be able to further have a conversation around this. So I thank you so much.
And we'll come back when we are making a date. Live.
Thank you.
We'll call you back. We need you to come and tell us more about Eurobond.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Nkoma, for your time. Really appreciate, like always, as I say, you're an epitome of knowledge when it comes to economics. Therefore, we always knock on your doors and looking forward to having you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Before Mr. Nkoma goes, can I have a quick small response to, in a light way, before he goes, on the Eurobond?
Yeah,
yes.
Please go ahead.
You know, in the previous government, they used to go to Europe to bond in Europe, not to get the bonds. You know what I mean? Take care. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
All right. So thank you so much, Mr. Nkoma. And of course, you are still watching the special interview right here on Ubuntu channel, where we are discussing Zambia's debt restructured. And of course, in the studios had a renowned economist by the name of Mr. Noah Nkoma. Like I said, omwenes nakambira monse betiri pano monse bemutamba mungati joine mu studio tankala pamozi so that aliyense aponyapo mwamene achitira understand nkhani ya debt restructuring mwamene amverera kangati mwamvera bwino alist tiuzeni che mwamverera bwino o kapena simnamvere bwino mwatiuza che simnamverere bwino o kapena mwina ma views yenango sikuti njepe tankala pano tonse tifunga kugwirizana iyayi chifukwa tonse tabwa kupunzisana bonse tifuna list wagwirako aka ukaikira pamozi ni chichankala chonse chikulu chakuti mwankala na full baked information. So vamene muziva bwerani mutiuzeko na mnaimwe vye muziva bwerani mutiuzeko so that bonse pamozi tingankale an informed citizen. I can see Mr. Sainende. It seems like his internet is lagging. Please, if you can join us back into the studio, and for those of you that haven't joined yet, join us into the studio by clicking on the link that we have shared with you in the comments box. And at this time, Himba and Muhammad, kindly allow me to read at least one or two messages so that we can also get to recognize our dear viewers that have come through via messages. So if we can bring the messages on the screen and get to recognize people that are following this particular program and also get to appreciate them and appreciate the views that they have expressed. Remember, this is a special program on Ubuntu channel, and this is necessitated with the fact that Zambia's debt has been restructured, and we just have to talk about it. We just have to get your views. We have to know how you feel or what your thought is. Namwinga, thank you so much. Good to know that you are watching. All right, if we can also get to another message. So Emmanuel Kayembe says, the UPNG has not resolved any problem. All they have done is run away from responsibility by prolonging the period. Another party that will take over from them will find this matter brewing. Is it reasonable Is it reasonable to grant imperialist companies tax holidays, then you go borrow? If we don't revive manufacturing and ramp up the mining sector, we may even fail to pay the reduced installments as there is no economic activity going on in the nation. Mr. Kayembe, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming in with that view, which is very, very important. Let's get to see if we can get to read another message. So my panelists, remember that we take note of these messages and then let's also get to add our voices or our say. Like I said, we are here to educate one another. So my view cannot be thoroughly correct or cannot be thoroughly wrong, but we are here to educate one another and get your views. So my view is my view, and let's just get to share our views. If you react to a view, please react to it in a sober way, in a sober manner, so that we educate one another. Let's get to read another message if we have, and then after that we get to obviously back into the studio. So Laura says, good afternoon panelists and the guest Mr. Nkoma. All I can say is Utayandi Aboloke. Wow, I'm so good.
Abwaluge Abologe. Bolu.
Okay. I am so proud of our president. He has a vision for his people. Thank you so much, Laura, for that message. Let's get back to the studio. Of course, Himba, being the only female, I think I would want to start with you. Yes, you are excited, but let's also get to express views. Remember, in reacting to divergent views that you think are not part of your views, let's be as sober as possible so that we educate one another. We are here to educate one another.
Mr. Muhammad had something to say, Lance. He was trying to come in.
Okay, sure.
Can I come in and give a response to Mr. Kayambe's post? Yeah, his
Please
message.
do.
Yeah. With due respect, Mr. Kiyambe is, I think, missing the whole point. We are in a situation because of real bad governance in the previous regimes. That is why we went into a dead spiral. What HH is trying to do, or the new Dawn government is trying to do first, is to contract the debt. Once a contraction does take place, which we hope we will now, we will have extra revenues to develop our infrastructure. Once we have an development, the economy, our tax regime will be collecting more money. Therefore, our ability to pay these debts will be more than it will be very easy to pay off these debts. What Mr. Kiambe was actually talking about is he is looking very short-sightedness. Obviously, from the way he has put it down, it seems as though he does not understand the celebration mode we are in today and why we are in where we are. What we have to realize, forget politics at the moment. We are Zambians. We have to be positive. Let's look at the positivity of Zambia for the future, not trying to petty politics and bring everything good down. Whatever it seems, whatever HH or New Dawn government does, it seems to be thrown down by the opposition for some odd reason. This is not politics. This is ugly politics. I'm sorry to say. Zambia is more bigger than petty politics. And I think if Mr. Kiamba can come on the studio, we would be very well engaging each other on it on a brotherly basis, because as much as he loves Zambia, we all love Zambia. Thank you.
I think maybe just to come in on how maybe I understood his message. I think his message clearly states that yes, as much as we have, have gotten this debt restructured, we shouldn't forget the fact that our economy is not active, especially if we do not set up manufacturing companies, because we may have this debt restructured. And then if we are not manufacturing things, if our mining sector is not doing the needful, if we are giving tax holidays to people, then how then are we going to manage, even if we are given 30 years to repay that debt? How are we going to manage to repay that debt if our key economic sectors are still not functioning? I think that's what he was trying to put across.
Lance, if I can stop you on that one. Basically, where Zambia is today, we had to give tax holidays to incentivize foreign companies to come in. I mean, he's called them imperialists, which is not the right word to use when we are going out to seek foreign direct investment into our country. And Zambia needs big foreign direct investments in companies, especially in the mining sector, because tomorrow's age will be electric vehicles. We are sitting on resources where we can value add. And if we have a level playing field where we encourage all these big electric vehicle manufacturers to come and invest in our country, surely, we will benefit on a tax regime, where we will be collecting taxes to pay off our debts. Not at the moment where we are. We don't have anything to pay. We can't even sustain ourselves. There were companies that were folding and going away because our regime was not functioning properly. It was just corruption everywhere. There was no incentive for everything. So Lens, where Mr. Kiambe is saying and where we are going is two different things. And you must understand where I'm coming also from. I understand your point where we said we have given tax holidays, but we have given tax holidays in the interim to encourage these companies to participate and still stay in our economy. You and I know we don't have able Zambian companies immediately to take over the mining operations. We have to be very, very, very foresight, because the world over, all the electric vehicles, etc., are being built, are going to be built by all these big conglomerate companies who are based outside Japan, China. If we cannot have value addition in our countries, we are doomed. And that is what HH has been talking about. If you saw how he was addressing the leaders yesterday, it was a very proud moment. He was one amongst the equal. The way he conducted himself. We saw people like Macron. We saw people like the IMF lady or whatever. They were agreeing what he was saying. We are in the Champions League and we have to act like a champion. Let's not be petty. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Mohammed, for that contribution. Our dear viewer, remember that you can also join us into the studio as we are discussing Zambia's debt restructured. We want to hear your views as well. We want to know your excitement levels. We want to know what your take is on Zambia's debt that has been restructured. And of course, we know that mixed feelings have come in from all sorts of walks of life. Obviously, Zambia being politically charged, or positively politically charged, the matter has been politicized. As maybe I can say this, if I can be allowed. We have seen the Patriotic Front through Davis Chama that has said that it's pointless for the UPND to celebrate the debt restructuring. Instead, they have to concentrate on the promises that they made to the Zambian people. Of obviously, they will always list the issue of Milli Meal, the issue of farming inputs and all this and that. And then also we have seen it should be Zaki. Just allow me to read this. This was in the news, if I'm not mistaken. Where obviously the opposition front, United Front for a Strong Foundation leader, Branch Sengalumbwe, who urged the government to focus on what is critical for the country to generate revenue so that the debt which has been restructured is dealt. So according to him, he says that CDF does not generate any income for us to repay the debt. He talks about free education does not generate any income to repay the debt. So we have to look at what economic sectors can we invest into as a country so that we can manage to pay back this debt. He spoke of the private sector, being empowered and being given an opportunity to contribute in the raising of our economic value.
Lance, thank you so much. Let me just come in. It's really a sad situation to get such comments from influential people in our society, leaders coming out like that. We all know that what we are talking about, Pano, is that we've gotten a breather. We are not saying Nkongole, Vaichosa, Yachoka, Yonze, we will not pay that credit. No, that's not what we are celebrating. All we are celebrating as Zambians is that Vatipa Sako breather. If somebody is saying we invest, as Muhammad has said, that we invest first, how are you going to invest? Muyambe business, nishimulinandrama ikulu kwe mufuno lipira. So basically what we are going through is we owe somebody. And it's so sad that these are the people who are supposed to be our leaders and they are reacting like that. What we are going through now is that we have this huge debt. Let me say, you Nkongole ya 500 kwacha. Ni Nkongole ya 500 kwacha, right? And because of this Nkongole ya 500 kwacha ulinayo, sunga gule unga mnyumba. Sunga gule madaipa mnyumba. Sunga lipile marentos. You can't pay for electricity. You are basically struggling because in Nkongole ya ulinayo ya 500, you need to pay. And then ilina interest pambali, pamenapa. Then in Nkongole pe unaitenga, mweze muna verana tusaka missing a payment. Missing a payment that increased your what? Your interest. So basically, in Nkongole ya kugwila pamkosi, you are dancing. Then, this person anatenga Nkongole, akangiwa kushita negotiate for a better deal. Then here comes a person and says, okay, I'm going to negotiate. And this is where now HH had gone. and achita negotiate mwe bantu nifunika nikazilipira 50 kwacha every month or nifunika nikazilipira 100 kwacha every month kuti nisize nkongole but sinikwanisa so nipempa munibwezereko pansi nikazilipira kolo 25 kwacha. This 25 kwacha, it will give me izanipasako chance yakuti ka 100 kwacha kenifola from my company. Nizambo kwanza na milipila nkon 50 kwacha na sana 50 kwacha na lipilako malaiti na lipilako bana kuskulu na gulako vokudia then kangono kasala ningambo panga ko vitumbua. This is basically what I understand. So for somebody to say yeah is bana solving my problems this one we are not saying Kongole asila no. We are celebrating that we have a good deal, we have a breather, and we can look into other things. We all know that at the moment in Nkongole, you can't invest as a country. You have to concentrate because interest is amboenda pamwamba. At the end of the day, we have more knife example sanctions, but this gives us an opportunity for us to go back to the drawing table and say, what do we do as a country? Breathing, where do we go? I think basically this is where the celebration is coming from. We'll breathe a little bit and it will give us chance to do other national projects. Lance, over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Himba. It's just unfortunate that Mohammed has dropped out. I really wanted him and I to have a deliberation on obviously looking at now the debt has been restructured. Then what should the UPND government now do in ensuring that at least we put this into good use? Just yesterday, I had an interaction or a chat with a Socialist Party President, Dr. Frederick Membe, who was saying that now that the debt has been restructured, let's now see what Zambia's economy is all about, since President Hakainde Hichilema had promised to to flourish the economy of Zambia when the debt gets restructured, or when in Nkongole at least is za pelekewako patali. So he was saying now this is where we are going to see President HH for who he is, because what he campaigned for or what he really wanted has happened. So let's now see how progressive the economy is going to be. So what should be the sectors, or what economic sectors should this government look into in terms of investing whatever revenue that we have in talking about the IMF bailout package which will come?
What should the government do next? I would have wanted the president for the Socialist Party to answer that question, because these are our opposition leaders. They are supposed to give the checks and balances to the government on our behalf, the citizen. So who would want, you can't just say, tizami onani vemuzachita, first indile. But I would love Lance to come to you and say, look, Lance, let them bring proposals to the table. Zambia is for all of us. We are not even, there's no one who is entitled to national cake and development. No. As far as we are concerned, we need to use the holistic approach. Sometimes that these political jackets we are wearing, and sometimes it's better my politics I hate cheater. Sometimes we forget about politics. We look at the interest of the majority Zambians, or we look at the interest of the poor Zambians who can't even afford Panado, So ingatambo kamba tizami onani vemuzachita. This is the president. We expect him to be the president. You are the next president. If anything, if the UPND government does very well, and at the time they leave government, you become the president, you take over. Don't you think it will be an easier thing for you to run the country? So all I'm saying, can we come up with solutions? Can our opposition leaders, they are our mouthpiece, ma proper checks and balances on this restructuring we've had? It's one step. olo ufuna olo mpeti badwa timayamba step by step lelo mwenze kujapo wenze kunyonga mailo amba kuja porridge aunga. It goes like that. So this development we are talking about as the Zambian people, it needs all the sectors to come to the round table, all the stakeholders to come to the round table, all the citizens of Zambia to come to the round table and contribute to the development of the nation. No one has the upper hand in this, especially my opposition leaders. Can they do proper checks and balances? Endi olo mwana che olo muntu umuzonda bwanja kachitako cha bwino watasha ta eni olo yanga na kumbali na olo leshafi olirangi taba katulumbai hanejita hiumoyo. In our tribe we say let's praise even if we are not happy inside. Let's praise vachitika. Over to you, Lance.
Anyway, thank you so much for that. For now, I would love to get back to the messages that have come through on our various platforms where we are broadcasting from. After that, I will be able to bring in more concerns or more reactions that are coming through from other people as well. As you know, for some of us in the media, we go flat out to get at least responses or reactions from other people. So I will be sharing more on that so that at least each and every one of us can have a glimpse or an idea of what we are talking about here. But also you can come through. We have shared the studio link. You also can come through, join us into the studio, or better still, leave a comment and we'll be glad to read it and interact with you. Nicholas Motale Dobe says, we are tired, always PF. I'm sure I wanted to say Mr. Nkoma. Stop. Every Zambian know PF talk about every Zambian know about PF. So talk about restructuring of debt. All right. Nicholas, thank you so much for that message. Laura comes back, obviously responding to Emmanuel Kayembe. Mr. Kayembe, when we have manufacturing companies, we will be able to add value to all products we produce here. The more we export, the more money we raise to pay off the debt, even before the deadline. Well, I think Laura and Kayembe, you're just speaking the same thing. I think one way or the other, no one has understood the other one. Mulungu Ruben Jerome says, one of the campaign messages of the president was that he was going to restructure the debt. After defaulting, the only way out was to restructure. On this one, the government has done a good job. Thumbs up. Thank you so much, Jerome, for that message. Laura, again, a word of advice to the listeners. What we need to do as Zambians is to work hard so that we support the government, raise enough moolah to pay. Yes, a handful enjoyed the borrowed money, but we need to team up to back. Obviously, it's to come back. Well, I presume. All right. Thank you so much.
All of us, she's saying a few people benefited from the borrowed money, but now we all need to team up to pay back the money.
Okay. Well, interesting views coming through from there and from everybody that is, coming through and share what they understand or how they understand this Zambia's debt restructuring issue. Now, to also top up on that and obviously to propel more on what we need to be thinking and to be talking about, especially looking at Zambia's debt getting restructured or it being restructured. One thing that President Chisengalumbwe again raised was an issue, or maybe let me come back to Laura and Mr. Kayembe before I go to Mr. Chisengalumbwe. So Laura and Kayembe obviously talking about the same thing to say, if we invest in manufacturing, if we have manufacturing industries, we manufacture our own things and then just get to export end products, then this means that more foreign revenue will be coming through into the country, thereby increasing on our foreign reserves and making it also possible for us to pay back the loan, no matter how big it is or no matter how enormous it can be. So yes, manufacturing or industrialization is a way to go. I think this is also one thing that President Sengalumbe talked about, to say we should now that our data has been restructured, let us not go the previous regime's way, where you have money only for consumption and you don't invest it for revenue
Hand to
generation.
mouth.
So we need to start
Yenzeko
thinking.
mwatya mumalandila hand to mouth.
So we need to start thinking on how, where are we going to invest this money? How are we going to make sure that there is revenue generation apart from the convention of tax pay, tax payments, and tax everything? What measures or what should this government do? What should they put in place to see to it that there is revenue generation that is coming through or that is coming in into the country? And then also we have to look at what projects can we embark on that will again help in making sure that even our agricultural sector, because our Zambia can be a food basket to many African countries, as we have arable fertile land that we can plant
So
different
manje
crops, different
itandrama
types.
lanse batilekererako tizalima maningi, tizalima milisi. Tikapeleke ku Congo genuinely now, not ijayo pizza kuja ijayo pizza kumbali, simwameni. So zijandrama zeba
Tunapitisa soya beans kumbali.
waona so tizamba will be able tiza breathing ako kwinangu mutilipira kankongole kwinangu tuchitako twatu eventually tachitako increase kacha kandrama keti namverana ngati namverana tizambo lipira 50 kwacha because ukutapitisako milisi ukutapitisako so tizambo chita chani chita increase at the end of the day nankongole tizaisiza musanga as one of our viewers has said tizailipira musanga so takondwela che ku breathing alance.
Hello, our dear viewers. You are still watching the special interview, the special interaction right here on Ubuntu channel, where we're discussing Zambia's debt restructured. Of
Apparently,
course,
I
we are
haven't
so
heard
glad to
your
hear from
opinion.
you.
Ungo kama chema opinion yabantu nanga iwe lansi iwe ukobe opinion
You
yobe
haven't heard mine.
yachatukumfwe naifo la ndako tumfo fole umfwa lero nefyole. What is your opinion over this restructuring?
Well, my opinion is my opinion is very easy. Yes, of course, this is something positive that we need to commend government. Like you said, yes, they've put a breather, but a few concerns that come in. This issue of, yes, data has been restructured, meaning that IMF bailout package, we are now eligible to get it. We're eligible to have it. It was surrounded by many things that we talked about, politicized, unpoliticized. This is where now I think we need the government to come out clean after having a positive response from our debtors or creditors to say we are going to go your way, and then IMF is coming in to bail us out. So government must come out now in the open, say since this money is coming through, is coming in, here is how we are going to use it. Okay, so there must be a plan, a contingent plan. This is how we are going to use the money. If it's infrastructure development, this is how much we are putting on infrastructure. This is how much we are putting on agriculture. This is how much we are putting in the energy sector. This is how much we are putting in the education sector. This is how much we are putting in the industry sector, so that we may be able to see. Okay, we may be able to see and understand to say government has not only gotten a bailout package, but also has a roadmap of how much from the money that is going to be the bailout package, how much money is each sector going to benefit with, and what period do they have for that money in that particular sector to generate income, and of course at least have a surplus which will help in repaying the debt that has been restructured.
But
Okay,
maybe the
then
government is still working on such a document, Lance. Maybe they're still working on that roadmap as our leaders. Choose a debt restructuring, but maybe they're still working on that roadmap. But my appeal to our leaders is that
so we need it, we need it. We need it as soon as possible, Himba, because
I
look,
agree.
look at just the debt restructuring issue, the clips that we showed. Trust me, it's not only those people from Kalingalinga that have no idea about debt restructuring. Go to my compound, kuchibolya kweni choka. I think na debt mo ispelingira stiziva. So they need to be on the ground to, explain not only per TV, per radio, like here, but they also need to go, if possible, do community sensitization on debt restructuring. Okay,
That
and
one,
then
that one,
after
Lance.
that, they can come back and explain to us on, okay, this is the roadmap.
On that one, Lance, I totally agree with you. I 100% agree with you. And just to add on what you're saying, our majority voters, ni bantu bambili sibachitana understand what they are voting for. And I think our government should invest so much as well in sensitization kubantu, because if you look at the whole thing, you are going to discover ababeta benze babwela, our viewers, ni bangono, who are saying that this is just even, it's not even a negative. They don't amount to any amount of our population. But most of our population, or most of our people in our government, they don't understand. Even Petikamba at the restructuring of debt. If tatiende bamene bajabale kubenze baenda ku airport and ask them, you're going to find they don't even know what they were celebrating about. When we celebrate, we jump into the boat. But it will be better for our citizens to understand these things. I gave an example of Eurobond. I don't even think our people understand how Eurobond works. But if India into vakuti, tikankala na our leaders, let them break down this information. Every Zambian ashtaku understand. If they don't understand, they have an idea. In all the local languages, ngani kuenda kuma communities kusebenzesa ma drama.
Ma megaphone.
What exactly? Whatever is we can use as a country, because an informed person or an informed country, it's easier to development. If they understand, drama so believe me, those children will be able to manage vintu munyumba bwino than bana sibachita vili vonse simuka nao kukamba nao they don't understand. That's why we are finding it that in our country we don't even value government properties, because we've not been taken through. In other countries, uzape that a little child understand the new policy that the government has announced. Uzada bantu batamangila kwenda ku newspaper. Batamangila, I need to listen. No, the president is speaking. The prime minister is speaking. Bambe no sebenzesa vitundu vatu. Bambe okamba, we want to see our MPs, we want to see our councillors, we want to see bakamba na bantu. Oh, explain to the Zambian people. Let the Zambian people understand. And they contribute to the development of the country. Look, somebody's even saying, if it can So literally, how do we expect to develop when they develop, they don't understand. We celebrate, we don't understand what we are celebrating. Lack of information is ni cancer inangwiyo. Elo muntu wese ali informed avuta kumupunisa nkani za development. So babwele batiuze debt restructuring. Chikamba chani, ni chinyama chani. What is there for me as a Zambian in a himba when igulisa salaula, in a when igulisa nshaba? What is there for me? And how am I going to benefit from this national cake?
All right. Thank you so much, Himba. I would love us to go on a musical break, but before we do that, there's one interesting comment that I've seen from Nicholas. So Nicholas has come back and he puts out something very very important that we can get to tackle maybe. All right, so Nicholas comes back and says that lady, she speaks well, but the president wouldn't accept advice from opposition parties. In Europe or America, when it comes to national matters, the president will assemble a team of men and women comprising capable people from opposition parties, economists from outside government to solve the matter. But that's not the cause. That's not the case, rather, in Zambia. The government sees opposition parties as the biggest enemy. Well, to a very large degree, I know as a presenter, I know I shouldn't take sides, but I think I wouldn't agree more with Nicholas. This is the truth. Zambian politics, not only ruling, but also the opposition, Zambian politics looks at the opposition or the ruling as their opponents and not as colleagues in the development of this nation. So if Himba today you are president, believe you me, I will be your opposition. You won't want to sit down like we are seated like this, getting the little knowledge that I may have. You see me as Lance's opposition, therefore there's nothing positive that can come from him, apart from him shooting me left, right, down, and center. Or equally, the opposition looks at the governing party to say, these are people that are doing just wrong things, and therefore, since we're government in waiting, let's just shoot down everything that they are doing, no matter how good or bad it is. Unfortunately, that is the politics of Zambia.
You know, Lance, I totally agree with you. It's just that people, as we are saying, our political players, they've created a narrative, and which we, the Zambian people, we've come to accept that as long as you come from different political parties, mungala my enemies. Kulibe nakutpano, we are having unity of purpose, and we are having this unity because this is for Mother Zambia. And even if we're Zambians, we've actually come to the point, tikaona che, my leaders, my political leaders, vali pamoja. Banamugula. Banamuchitachani. Obvious, bamujesamo. That is not the way it is. Whether somebody is in the opposition, but in my ideas, it's just that at that particular time, they are not in the driving seat. They might have an idea that will add value to the development of the country. You see what I mean? So basically, they've created that narrative. Iwe just because iwe ndiwe wa UD inendine wa NY. The moment tikakumana che na iwe niona che nikutukana, I have to disagree with you. Even when you are saying sense, this is what the political players have planted in the political arena and in the minds of the Zambian people. And going forward, this is the animal we need to fight. We've seen in other countries where we even see the opposition leader in parliament questioning the current leader. Why didn't you? And when there's issues of national interest, you are going to find the opposition. But for us, we look at each other. As long as you come from a different political party, you become my enemy. I'm going to fight hard to turn it down so that even people should see that. But this is the narrative we need to fight as Zambian people if we want to see development in our country, Lance.
Thank you so much, Himba. To you, our dear viewers, remember that you can join us by clicking on the link which is shared with you in the comment section, or better still, you can still leave a comment and we'll be glad to read it out and hear from you. Let's get your views, let's get your perspective, let's get to learn from you what you understand by debt restructuring or debt. Zambia's debt has been restructured. What do you understand by this? What are your expectations now that Zambia's debt has been restructured? These are the issues that we are talking about right here on Ubuntu channel. And of course, this program was necessitated by the fact that there's jubilation in the country to say at least hapa Nkongole vaitali mpisako ka payment chani not vija veterans kama TI by November tufunika talipira date ya zingati hapa yeili komanje nakutira nje okay, instead of November taikirako maybe 2 or 3 years ndiye mzakabweza na payment method izankhala so kapena mzambolipirako ma 10% kapena mzambolipirako ma 20%. So debt restructuring vamene imeaning asikuti ati nkhongoleja laichosako completely nkhongole vatipasako nthawi yakuti njera instead yolipira mu November mwe mufunga olipira imwe vye mzachita takupasa nkhoni nthawi so that at least my economic policies yanu yemuli nayo and mukulupira kuti yazakwanisika kuti imwe muzakwanirisa kulipira inkhongole maybe in the next 6 years takupasani iyo nthawi koma ngaifika interest zakwezikako chepang'ono so that tichite chani kata for tuma damages twankhalako kostenzoita expect pa day so nkhongole yathu ija simwamene himba okapena nawe at least ukambeko muchitunga enough tried nyanja.
Thank you so much, Lance. I like the way you've put it, actually. I like the way you've put it. I like the tone you've used. For me, I'm going to say it this way. What we are going through, it's like when Zinasakaya 10, or let me say 90 kg bag of milis wanyamula. You are told, you are given this task to kazinyamula isaka, Then somebody say, uja mtu ya kupasa ija taski, aona wakangi wa ya struggling. Then this person abuela futa lela ndatawe, ili saka. Okay, basically you are lesson saka waya kumuntu yanda imwe saka eri mwanja bati nsende ne na achitesh na afirwa moneni naonda moneni I can't do anything. Then this person said, okay, still ili 100 kg bag ya milisi ufuniko inyamula, so niza kuvomelesa kwa tuyambo nyamula tumameda wika mumameda wa nyamula. But instead of you kuinyamula at once with one load wabwa waiyika huku manje ozanyamula malodi yangati nkayangaya zankala you move maybe 10 times 20 times, but the pressure on you will be minimized. Chenchijo ejijitiga awalansi Vatuambila kuti lyasaka ndi mwali kunyampula lipati lyala 100 kg. Kamunyampula nini kamunyampula mutuma meda kamunyampula kamweto kupaga mutiani mumanihe mapogaya. But whether yume hitete, you need to bring kunyampula isaga awuyeta gogo kambo mbutoga chihwana. That's what we agreed, that you have to do it. So in Congole etili nayo batipasa mupata. Keep on saying we can pay it installments while we are doing other activities. Tizambo kwaniza kugula minkwala ma hospitals. Tunakukwaniha kuchita other national activities. Although it will still be our burden. Ninchi tuedewa badala malaya. What chibajita bamba yoto mukuhila agaga nini aya mwabadale amane mwabadale ujindijilahu. But one thing we have to know, inkongole bonse tulabadala, whether ulihanyemu, ulihatombwe, we are all paying this credit. And even bana benangu beba badwa lelo bazalipira nkongole ya meneti kambapo. It's not a thing that could end in a twinkle of an eye. It's a process, but it will help us to develop our country. Probably even the previous regime failed to do other projects because Ndama Zebenzo lipira towards this loan was just too massive, So Benzo Kangiwa, but it's just that they couldn't negotiate. But why can't we be happy? Why can't we praise God? That thank God you've given us the opportunity to do what? To pay this. So basically for me, I'm saying we thank you, our leaders, and hope, as Lance has said, we are going to have an action plan on the way forward and how every Zambian is going to benefit from this. Lance, over to you.
Thank you so much. Another thought has just chipped in. As much as we are jubilating or we are in jubilation mode that our debt has been restructured, I think we also need to put into consideration that this debt restructuring goes also over to our would-be grandchildren or our children. So as leaders now that have worked on restructuring this debt, or let me just say, okay, for me, I think I want to put it collectively to say Zambia has worked in restructuring its own debt, because it's Zambians that voted for the current leaders. So I wouldn't say President Hichilema has restructured Zambia's debt, but rather Zambians have done it through the leader.
Volume, Lance, volume.
vote.
If it has 7 for any volume, that's a wise point. Volume.
Tazisebenzera tebene bake Zambians. So through the leaders that we elected, we have restructured our debt. Now, in restructuring, let's also put into consideration the next generation that is coming. Okay, so we have to ensure that by all means we pay back this debt and not put our children, the generation to come, into problems kubulambo olipira nkongole yesu anakongoleko chifukwa chakuti ife ma parents tenze reckless tinakongola and kukongola only for consumption. So we need to make sure that as much as we are celebrating the restructuring, let's also work hard in making sure that we repay this debt for a better Zambia tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Lance. You've said it. Oh, vana vatu vasakalipile nkongole zesi vaziva vasakalipile nkongole. And I think as African countries we have one weakness. Our planning, we like to plan on short term. We don't plan on long term. But we should understand that planning on long term, it comes with sacrificing. Planning on long term, it comes with hard working. Timakonda quick money, very quick money, but quick money in leadership, it kills the country, it kills the economy. If we don't sacrifice, it will be difficult for us to develop. And if we don't think of the future, it will be difficult for us to have anything in the reserve. But we have to think of the future, we have to plan, and we have to think of our children. We need to start thinking above, not driving nanga bana banga. Like right now, we are all paying this in Congole, even when we didn't benefit. Do we want bana batu bakaende through the same thing? No. And it's high time we have to change the game of politics. And even us voters, it is as if voting, let's not just vote because somebody is planting the idea of hatred. Because if you saw the way the former PF spokesperson spoke, I'm not supposed to, as Lance has said, to pick sides, but the way he spoke, that was basically misleading. It can't happen. To him, he made it clearly that it's a non-starter. It's a dead end. But now, for me, I would say that was a misleading statement. That was a misleading statement just because somebody was pushing a political agenda. That was a political agenda that somebody was pushing, but at the expense of the Zambian people. So when we are going to vote for our leaders, let us be careful. Let's remember that when we are casting a vote, we are basically saying, Iwe Lance Nakuika as president. You are going to make decisions for me. You are going to protect me. That kulibaza nipaya. We are uzambo nigulila minkwala. Uzambo nigulila vokudia. I'm giving you the key to the national account. And I'm also giving you the key to my inheritance. So let us be careful. Tazivotela chati. Wenda banakamba bwino. Ndabanatuka na ujawesi nikonda. Akamba bwino. This is why tazipeza mwetiri tatwaisanga muli mwamoneni. And our politicians muzadabwa bambira ulo apapamene muzabamvera bayendezi. Bazangala nazi fetasala ntienda hospital mulibe mkwala. Mabasi yakwela vonse vishitachani tikangi olipila. So let's be careful when we are voting. When people say vote wisely, let's think deeper about who we are voting for. Over to you, Lance.
Thank you so much, Himba. Those were your closing remarks. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of the program. Really appreciate your availability. You've been great. You've been a wise lady. But Chidiobo, Chifuni Kai, please kindly send
Chidiobo. Lance Chidiobo. Kange celebrate autapengi byandila ujigila miungu jitende kusanganya ipoga Chidiobo ndila ujigila autapengi. You've been a lovely partner.
Thank you so much. To you, our dear viewers, we appreciate you for taking time to watch this particular broadcast. You and definitely you, everybody that has commented, that has liked, that has shared, that has followed us, that has followed Ubuntu channel. You are great people. Without you, we cannot be. This is why we are Ubuntu channel. I am because you are, or we are because you are. Therefore, without you, we can't be here. And very soon, we'll be celebrating our anniversary. We'll be celebrating our anniversary as a channel. Look out for more details right here on our page. I thought I was going to see the presidential dance.
Maybe we can try.
I don't dance.
Lance, it's time to close. Our director is warning us.
All right. So thank you so much. We really appreciate, and we'll be back again for another edition of this kind of a program as we continue sensitizing or on an awareness program talking about handles growth restructured. I've been your host, Sani Banda, together with Himba and everybody that came through, Mohammed, that came in the studio, Emmanuel, and also Mr. Noah and Koma. We say thank you. Have a blessed week.